to the Modest Men Podcast.
I'm Jason.
And I'm Justin.
And we are back,
Instant reactions. What are we reacting to, Jay?
I'm gonna mute that one because I was clearly different. Different times. It is 2023, and I promise to censor myself in an appropriate way. And the opinions and views of my own, and they do not reflect my current employer. So I just wanted to, right? With that being said, we are the Modest Men. We are back joining you live
with disclaimers.
Right?
Back with
we're back with disclaimers. How about that? It's a reaction. It is NFL Conference Championship weekend and Sunday, however you want to put it. And
Sunday fun day, however you want to. Yeah.
We just saw. I don't know how you want to frame it. Let's start with the first one. We had the Niners and the Eagles, a game that had a lot of twists and turns, or maybe one wrench of an arm twist that twisted the wrong way and wrenched the wrong way, and then it became a blowout. So,
I did not see the injury. So was it just him in the pocket and his arm got hit?
Yep, first drive of the series. Purdy drops back, goes to release the ball, and Hassan Reddick came and he wrenched his arm. And for all of our people who are left-handed, like Tua Tagovailoa, and people who like to reverse and us, of course, because we are the left-handed guys. Let's get in here.
Yep.
And the way that you would, I don't have a football here, but if I did, he's going to throw the ball.
Right.
And his arm got hit as he was kind of throwing the ball, and it got wrenched the wrong way. And they said the ball, it was moving forward, but it was out of his hands. It was a fumble. It was already a fumble, and it advanced forward. So they went to the replay of it, and it was a fumble. Eagles recovered the ball. But previously, before that, there was a play on 4th and 3 where Devonta Smith went to go catch the ball. And said he caught the ball on the 6-yard line. And then everybody rushed to the line of scrimmage because he was signaling to everyone to get to the line of scrimmage. And they snapped the ball and then they were scoring subsequently. But the ball popped out at the end. And so Kyle Shanahan and the 49ers decided to not, seeing those actions that were taking place right then and there, and not taking a timeout, and then signaling to the referees like, "Hey, can you take a look at that for a completed pass?" Started, it ended up being 6 points from right there. So Brock Purdy got hurt. Before that, Brock Purdy was undefeated in his time in 2023 and for his NFL career.
Correct.
And had the highest
10-0 with McCaffrey. Yeah, as well.
Yeah. Well, actually, yeah. So McCaffrey joined the team the week of the Chiefs game, and they got blown out, right?
Right. They count that as a loss, but like you said, he played that previous Thursday, he played that Sunday, and then got traded, and they were playing a Thursday game, right?
Right. Well, yeah, and he played. I think it was a Sunday game, and he played for a few series. But I think he only had maybe even 8 touches or something of that nature. But needless to say, you had 2 teams that had the longest win streaks in the NFL, the Cincinnati Bengals and the San Francisco 49ers. And for the second year in a row, my Super Bowl that I wanted to see did not take place. So, needless to say, the Eagles whooped on the Niners. And, actually, you know what? I'll say this.
Hold on. Let me defend, as a non-Niners fan, I'll defend the Niners. You were already... you were playing with house money, right? So you have Brock Purdy take you farther than you probably thought you would get with someone that far on your depth chart, right? And so they're riding this high, relatively injury free, right? As far as everybody else.
I'd like to show that is the NFL referee, and instead of black and white, he had on green and white. And
okay, you're trying to sidetrack me, but basically, like, they were doing really good, right? I mean, Shanahan was doing great with play schemes and using Purdy's strengths and everything, right? So it's
highest scoring offense,
right?
In NFL?
They had a lot going for them. The only thing that would derail them, it would have been an injury, right? So like the worst thing that could happen is for him to get hurt, because I didn't even know who was next. Like, if he were to get hurt, I didn't even know who was on the roster, right? So when I flipped the game on, I see Josh Johnson getting sacked. I'm like, Josh Johnson?
Yeah. And I have a very complicated fandom, and so I will also share that. I am wearing a Patrick Willis jersey. Patrick Willis, one of the greatest linebackers of all time, and should be a Hall of Famer this year. He is a Hall of Fame finalist for this year, so this is his year 2. He should get in. So 92 is when I started watching the Niners play, and because Jerry Rice is my favorite player, shout out Jerry Rice. Greatest
you're
wide receiver.
You're not speaking alone in that. I mean, I had multiple Rice jerseys.
Yes.
Dang it!
What happened?
Did you finish the Oreos?
I did.
Every time I get milk.
Every time.
Wife just asked me, did I finish the Oreos?
Mm-hmm. Every time.
I did. Every time. Yeah.
Well, now my dogs are barking. I don't know what.
So going back to that, I'm started watching the Niners, and really when Steve Young took over, and I really appreciated them and their rivalry with the Cowboys and things of that nature. And then when the Browns left Cleveland, I had a team. And so Browns came back in 99, still cheering for the Niners, of course. And then I happened to move out here. So there we have it. I have dual citizenship, and I happen to live out here as well, too.
Well, yeah.
So,
like,
yeah.
You're qualified, right? You're well within, you lived there twice. So you're well within your range to be, capacity. I also, when the Browns left, I had the Cowboys triplets poster on my wall. Back at Rockside. My room was painted blue because it was weird because I like the Cowboys and I like the Niners, because I definitely, being lefty and thinking I could be a pitcher or a quarterback or something. So I love Steve Young. You know what I mean? And
Steve Young was gutsy. Met Steve. Shout out Steve.
Oh, yeah, you did.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of those guys are recognizable, like offense and defense. You had Merton Hanks and his neck, right? You had, there was so many guys on the Niners that were.
That secondary was legendary.
Yeah, they were.
Tim McDonald, Prime, Merton Hanks.
Yep.
Yeah. Eric Davis. Davis,
Right.
Disgusting. Yeah, right.
And then they ended up with Dion, right? So it was like it was crazy. So no, I definitely had points, and we both are fans of T.O. So I was,
absolutely.
T.O. on the Niners was disgusting. Like it's almost like the Barry Bonds debate with Pittsburgh Barry and San Francisco Barry. Like T.O. could get in with just being on the Niners alone.
Absolutely.
As far
as
But no. Like, so with all that being said, like, I wanted to see good football, period. And it just sucked that the wind are taken out of their sails before they can really even get going. So you're already behind. You're already behind the 8 ball or whatever cliche you want to use when you're on a guy. Josh Johnson didn't start the season on their team because the guy that they were playing was the end of their depth chart, right? So it's what can you do?
Right. So rewind that, right? So Brock Purdy gets hurt. You bring in Josh Johnson, but to start the season off, you had Trey Lance as a starting quarterback because Jimmy Garoppolo, who took it to the Super Bowl before, and then an NFC Championship game, they wanted to go with the young guy, right? And so, and I guess Jimmy had it. I don't know if he had surgery. I can't recall what it was, but Jimmy was his backup. Trey Lance gets hurt. Second game of the season, Jimmy takes over. You had some questionable games, what was going on, but Jimmy kind of seemed to take control of the team again, and you seen the team kind of perk up with Jimmy being behind the helm again.
But we all know Jimmy's ceiling, and the ceiling is about the size of a children's playhouse.
Yeah. So, well,
you already know what you're
7 minutes, in the fourth quarter of a Super Bowl, you about to call Jimmy G a Super Bowl champion, and so you're right. I mean, it happens. And then you have Brock Purdy, who's Mr. Irrelevant. You know, the last pick of the NFL draft of this year, rookie quarterback, takes over for Jimmy G after he gets hurt. And suddenly them boys start rolling. And, well, actually, I take that back. They go to Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey gets traded from Carolina. They trade a slew of picks, including a couple of second-round picks to Carolina, get Christian McCaffrey back, which McCaffrey ended up subsequently almost having 2,000 yards of total offense, you know, all-purpose yards this season. And they're rolling. And Brock Purdy comes in and you know, like, they're seemingly untouchable in the time that he's been, you know, under the helm and under center. They have the highest scoring offense in the NFL. And you're looking for a great game against the Philadelphia Eagles, who are the overall 1 seed. And yeah, Purdy gets hurt first drive of the series, and it's down 7-0. And then, I mean, shout out to the Eagles. Okay, like, I'm just gonna say that, like, the Philadelphia Eagles, they had a great season. I mean, Jalen Hurts went 16-1 this season. The games that he's actually started, right?
He should be the MVP.
He should be the MVP, no question. You know, but he had a pedestrian game today. I mean, you could tell that the shoulder was bothering him.
Yes.
He kind of shorted some balls because usually the balls that he put in, right.
I didn't see him run until like the third quarter.
Yeah, so he had one run and he kind of like, he got hit and he hit his shoulder and then he got turned and he got hit again. And I was like, oh man, it's like, that looked like a serious hit. And then he waited to run for the rest of the time, because usually, like, their run offense is predicated from Jalen Hurts starting it out, right? You know, couple of penalties that put the Niners into situations that prolong the drives and things of that nature. I mean, when you think about total yardage, I mean, Jalen Hurts went, you know, 15 to 25, 121 yards, QBR, you know, 64, you know, rating of 72.3. They had total 44 carries for 148 yards rushing. Miles Sanders had longest carry from any of their running backs of 17 yards, right?
Yeah, it was a good run.
Right. You know, I mean, the Devonta Smith catch that I was talking about earlier, that was the longest catch of the game on any side, which is crazy. 29 yards, right? Yeah. And that should have been an incompletion. You know, but they also forced 3 fumbles. You know, so you had, you know, Brock Purdy had the fumble that was lost. Josh Johnson fumbles the ball, and that was the turning point in the game right there. So Philly scores, right? Yep. And it's 14-7 with a minute and some change left in the second quarter. They get a first down completion to Debo, and then the next play, literally, the ball is snapped, and the ball is doing like this, like it's a damn kickoff return, bro. Like, it's just a flip. And Josh Johnson fumbles the ball and muffs the ball, and, you know, couldn't recover it. Yeah. And here you go, Philly gets the ball with, you know, like a minute left to go in the first quarter, and, you know, they score. And there now it's 21-7. And so, you know, Josh Johnson, you know, the funny part, Ted, you know, there was talks about Baker going to the Niners, right? And the Rams just happened to block the Niners from getting, right? Potentially. But would have been a story if Baker would have been a backup quarterback, man? Like, so behind Purdy?
I can honestly say, if Baker Mayfield was on their team with their weapons,
coming in that situation, it would have been more competitive, for sure. It
would have been a hell of a game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Because you just only need it for that one game, right? I mean,
considering what he did in that Rams game on that Thursday after just showing up a day and a half before.
Yeah.
And I don't even think he had Cooper Kupp either, right? Wasn't he already hurt?
No. Cooper Kupp was already hurt.
He had him for that game. Okay. But, I mean...
No, he was already hurt. He never played with Cooper Kupp.
Correct.
Yeah, they had... Who was that? Tutu Atwell and you know, Ben Skunerick and Tyler Higbee was, you know, his go-to receivers, right? And the resurgence of Cam Akers, you know.
No, but the Niners would have had a chance. In all honesty, they really would have.
Josh Johnson on his 10th team?
You know, but again, man, I'm gonna look that up because you might be right, and it might be hilarious.
Yeah. Season 15, I think it's his 10th team. I know he has the NFL record for most teams. Like, he's played for well over a quarter of the franchises. You know what I mean?
Hold on,
like,
I'm almost there. So, you ready? So,
yeah.
Tampa.
Okay.
Niners.
Right.
Browns.
It's the first time, right?
Bengals. Niners. Bengals.
Second time,
Jets. Colts. Bills. Ravens. I'm at 2016. Ravens. Giants.
Okay. Oh, shit.
Texans. Raiders. Redskins. Lions. Niners. Yeah, so however many that is.
I didn't count. You didn't count. Did you count? Because, like, I lost count after you said the Niners for the second time. So
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 teams.
Josh Johnson has played for half the NFL teams, or like, I guess in over 15 seasons.
A couple of them are.
I know duplicates. I get it, but yeah, like his 16th different team.
But you were right about years. 15 years. 15
years, right? Yeah. I mean, but who would have known that you would have need your fourth string quarterback, right? And then he got hurt.
I was like,
he got hurt.
No.
He got hurt, right? So you're talking about at one point, Kyle Juszczyk was the backup, the emergency quarterback.
I thought McCaffrey or Debo was going to do it. Right.
So it was, I think Shefty had put out that it was Juice, but then you saw McCaffrey go out there. So once Josh Johnson got hurt, and then you had, Purdy go back out there, and I thought that Brock was going to throw the ball at some point, but he was a decoy. And it's like, okay, so the game is over with, right? Like that, this shit, it's over with. Like, he's not throwing the ball.
That's the equivalent of if any pro team lost their star scorer, their second best player, and their defensive stopper. Like, you were pretty much, you could only run the ball.
Right.
I don't think I saw him throw it again. Right. He absolutely did not.
No. So he threw. He was 2 for 2 for 19 yards. Right. And then he had 2 more completions that equated to 4 yards. He finished up with a perfect completion rate percentage, right, of 100%. But also, it was only for 23 yards. So, I'm telling you, man, it was sad to see, because it would have been a hell of a game, and it was supposed to be a hell of a game.
Oh,
but
it was.
I will say this. So, in the Seattle game, right, and again, we talk about the team that had to, like, since Brock Purdy took over the team, they were the highest scored offense in NFL. And I saw in the first half of the Seattle game, that was the wild card round, I saw the first half, and I don't know if it was nerves from Purdy, it may have been, but Shanahan called a very vanilla game until the second half, and then that's when Purdy really turned it up, right? And so, he got his confidence up behind him as well, too. And then for 3.5 quarters last week against the Cowboys, super vanilla, and he didn't have plays that were really designed to help against a really fast pass rush. And then you go into this week against the Eagles, where you would think that taking the page out of what happened last week, and where you were so effective against the Cowboys and running the ball and some quick hitters and things of that nature, where your quarterback went down in the first series, and you got your fourth string quarterback, right? You got to call plays that's going to be able to benefit that offense and utilize the weapons that you have. And Kyle Shanahan, time and time again, did not do that. And it's just like, it's tough to see. Yeah. Like, I just,
And with all due respect to, I don't know, he's a pro, but when Josh Johnson comes in the game, I'm throwing all the blitzes.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
All of them.
I mean, like, so where's your max protection, right? When the Niners were struggling, to pass the ball and for protection for Jimmy G earlier this year, right? They went into, max protection, and even parts of last year. Like, where's your max protection? And then where are you lining up with your biggest and baddest and going head to head with run games, man? I'm seeing, like, halfback tosses to the right, like all of these plays when you're playing behind the chains right after first down, and you're constantly seeing 2nd and 13, 2nd and 15. With your quarterback,
and they're showing 8 in the box, like no hesitation.
With the team with the team that has the most sacks in the NFL this season, you're not doing yourselves any favors. Like, I'm just saying, like, I expected sometimes, like Kyle is super wizard, man, the offensive genius and, having all of these weapons and so forth. And he laid an egg. Because Purdy went out first series of the game. Just saying, it was disappointing to see it. When McCaffrey actually broke for the touchdown, like, dude, that's what I'm talking about, though. I saw
that was a tough ass run too.
It was, though. Oh my gosh, yeah. Right, but again, give the Eagles their props, man. They came out to play. At the end of the game, you got 60 minutes to play the game, and somebody got to play, somebody got to win, somebody got to lose. And for the second week in a row, they held their opponents to 7 points. That is impressive. And scored over 30. That is impressive. Last week it was 35-7 against the Giants, and this week it was 31-7 against the Niners. So, now the Niners go into this offseason, right, with another question of what they're going to do with their quarterback, because depending on the severity of...
the only thing I wanted to ask you is, what do you do now?
Yeah. Man. So,
put on
we had
your GM hat. What would you do?
Yeah, we had this conversation before, and this is with the healthy Brock Purdy, and I was like, there's no way that you see Trey Lance take another snap in the Niners uniform, because you got to make a decision that you got to try to get some assets back for him, because you used 3 draft picks to move up to get him.
Yeah.
Right. And so, knowing that Brock Purdy is now your quarterback of the future, right? Because now I
can list all the teams you can call. Call Washington.
Right.
Call Indy. Call Atlanta.
Right.
Call Houston.
Right.
Call. Did I say Denver? Maybe Denver.
Call the Ravens.
Call the Ravens. Call the Raiders.
Right. Yeah, you got a ton of teams. Did you say the Jets already? No, even though I think
Jets.
Okay, right. You got a ton. I mean, I think that Washington has no more draft picks. You got the Broncos, right? I don't know what they're gonna do with their situation over there. But back to the Niners, man. I think that depending on the severity of what Brock Purdy's elbow is, what it looks like, if he's gonna have to have surgery, if it's something that he can recover with, and you can have to instill the trust in him, to be 100% next season, then you got to go ahead and get rid of Trey Lance and try to salvage him, and get a first round pick for him. And I think you can get that. I no question. And then you keep Jimmy as a backup, or Jimmy may want to go out and try to go be a starter somewhere else, which very may be the case. And then you got a guy like Baker Mayfield who's sitting out there who could be his backup. That's the scenario of what you got going on. But I just don't see a situation where you got a guy when you had the team rolling and had the highest scoring offense since he took over as a starting quarterback, wins 2 playoff games, right? And, for an unfortunate situation, he didn't lose the game for you by any means. So you take that over a guy who's only started 17 games in college, and his 2 starts in the NFL, 1 was a loss, and in the second week he gets hurt. I don't think you can go off potential anymore in year 3.
No,
you got to be in win now mode. You
got to maximize what you got. If he's an asset, you got to do something with it. No, I'm on board.
Absolutely. So that's my thing. And now who knows what John Lynch does, but that's Jason Jenkins' standpoint.
Well, because you don't want friction. You don't want people having to pick sides in the locker room. You don't need the questions. You don't need the who is, nobody's sure. Open, the phrases. You don't need the open competition. You don't need any of that. You need to be clear.
You had it this year.
Yeah, right. You already did it, so you can't. You had it this year on the bullshit. You just can't.
Because look, if you look at what happened when Jimmy got in, right, when he came in, it was unfortunate, right? You had players coming over to give Trey Lance some words of encouragement, but when Jimmy came in the game, everyone was hyped. and the sideline was invigorated. You know what I mean? I think that's where you get into the situation where the people in the team have spoken. Man, so tough season, tough way to lose it in the end when you really didn't have the dogs that you needed to have. And maybe I'm being a little too critical for Shanahan, but I'm sorry. Like, it's tough to see that when your quarterback gets hurt in the first series. That's why you got him. That's why you have a backup quarterback. Yes. You know that you're one play away from something catastrophic happening, then you got to have your guy go in there and go take over for the team. Mm-hmm. And simply put, Josh Johnson wasn't equipped to run that offense, and Shanahan then called the right plays and the right scheme to be able to play winning football when it mattered most. So that's that. So that's where we're going into the 2023 season with what the hell happened. So, yeah. Other highlights from this game. By the way, like he's still better
than our current ball coach in Cleveland.
Oh yeah. No doubt. I mean, he's on. Oh, he's on a short leash too. Okay. I just wanted to call this out real quick. Penalties. Niners had 11 penalties to 81 yards, and that is not typical. And they also had 3 turnovers again. The last fumble came with Debo at I think 5 minutes left to go in the game, but the game was already out of hand. It was 31-7 at that point. Mm-hmm. But yeah. Time of possession, Eagles had 37 minutes and they had the ball, 25 first downs. A few of those came within, obviously penalties. They had a rough and a punter, and that was a 15-yard penalty that put the Niners back on the field, which it was Mason, one of our running backs. He went to go block the ball, but he also got pushed by the defender into the punter. Like, he got pushed into him.
That was a bunch of
right. That's crap. And so that's where, again, I saw some very questionable things from the, I'm just gonna put this out there. When Josh Johnson came to the game, and now they're on a 4th-string quarterbacks, I don't think there's any way that the people behind the puppetasters would allow the Niners to go to the Super Bowl with their 4th-string quarterback.
No, probably not.
And so
do you think that Devontae Smith caught that ball?
No, the ball was out. The ball was out.
I agree.
And that's and the fact that he got up and literally was signaled to and I'm listening to it on the radio because we're trying to go. Shout out Danny, settle down the family. We were over there, great host for this evening. We were going over there and Devontae Smith, and they're telling us like you had Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner on the call on Westwood Sports. They're telling us like, hey, Devontae Smith gets up immediately trying to signal like to get to the line of scrimmage to snap a play. And so usually when that happens, there should be someone for the sideline to say, hey, he might not have caught that ball because of the way that they're rushing to the line of scrimmage. They allowed the Eagles to get up to the line of scrimmage after a 30-yard play, and you didn't call a timeout or like throw the challenge flag. So I don't understand like what it was. And on a 4th and 3, Shanahan wasn't paying attention, and the coaching staff weren't paying attention either in that time frame. So something is going on right now. Oh gosh, that was weird. Did you hear that?
Is something playing?
Oh yeah, I just had an app just automatically started playing on my computer just now, and it just scared the crap out of me. Oh man, so that was that, right? So very disappointed about that. And then you get into the Cincinnati and Chiefs game, which it was a lot of talk from the Cincinnati starting last week with Mike Hilton calling it Burrowhead, and continue that conversation. And then you had Aftab, the mayor of Cincinnati, which shout out Cincinnati at seven Hills. We spent 4 years down there.
It was an interesting game. I actually watched that one start to finish.
Okay.
Kind of went. Well, it definitely didn't start the way I thought it would. Cincinnati struggled to protect Burrow. He took 4 sacks within the first 3 series. They were really moving the ball. They immediately abandoned the run. I hate when they do that.
Same here.
But he was hitting people. I think they didn't capitalize on touchdowns. They ended up getting field goals, but they would get into the red zone and they ended up with two field goals, and that was 2 field goals and and an interception and a punt, and 2 punts, and that was literally the whole first half, right? So then you're like, all right, it's getting sketchy. It's getting like, are they going to hold on? Like, then they held the Chiefs, so they were only down 6-13 or whatever it was, right? Instead of, it could have been far worse. And then it was like the weirdest things started happening. Like, all of Kansas City's receivers got hurt. Hardman got hurt. Juju got hurt. They were down.
Yeah, they mentioned a name, Marcus Kemp, and I was like, they say he got caught up in the practice squad. I'm like,
Sky Moore out there, and they were running 2 tight end sets. So Scantlin came up big, because he was the only one left, right? Who actually knew all the routes downfield. So he definitely showed up.
Right.
But yeah, they were running 2 tight end sets. A lot of Pacheco, not so much McKinnon, a lot more Pacheco. And but then Cincinnati started getting pressure, and they got some good hits. Pat rolled out hard left one time and came up lame, and I was like, oh, and he was limping good, and you could just see it. He stopped.
Yeah, I saw that, right?
Out a little bit until that play, and then he was kind of stationary at that point. So it was like, all right, they're gonna rear back and get after this man, and then Joe does what Joe does. Here comes Joe. He's hitting T. Higgins. He's hitting, and then they lost.
Oh, that T. Higgins catch!
Right.
Whoo! But then that was
lost Boyd. So now they're down one of their receivers. So it's like they're not running the ball.
And both of his catches, right? Both of his catches came in that one drive, and that was the second one he got hurt on.
And we were sitting there. We're all watching the game at this point because Aaliyah was watching, because she was like, oh, funny story. She goes, so Dad, tell me the truth. Where's Cincinnati? What state is it in? I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, is it in Kentucky or Ohio? I'm like, well, it's in Kentucky, babe. But the joke is it's Kentucky and it's not really Ohio. I'm like, but it's really Ohio. Like, I must have told her that joke when she was younger, so she kind of believed me. So it was just, I was like, wait, is she being serious? Because I was like, I'm kind of rooting for Cincinnati because they're from Ohio, and Joe and the connections, Ohio State and whatnot. And she's like, wait, they're in Ohio. Sure. Like, she said it was she was dead serious. I'm like, well, but besides the point, so we're all sitting there, and Joe made that throw to Chase. And he was dead double covered. He did a sick double move, and it was a post to an out and up, basically, or a slant to an out and up.
Okay.
So he did the slant, faked the post, and went up the field, and it was nasty. And Joe threw it. I mean, he was covered. He had a man behind him, and the man was on his inside. And Joe put it up high, and Chase. Oh man, it was nasty, and even
so I missed that play because I was on the road again. We were driving back home.
Was like halfway paying attention on her phone, and she saw that play, and even she jumped up and was like, "That was amazing!" And I was like, "Oh, what happened?" So I saw the replay. I was like, "Damn!"
Okay,
and so I'm like, "So they're in business. Like they made it work. They figured out the protection. He wasn't getting sacked." And I'm like, well, Cincinnati's in this game. Like, it's 13-13. Then they were down. Pat came back and they got a touchdown. So we're down 13-20. Then he took them back and got it tied at 20. I'm like, going into the fourth quarter, this is a ball game. I'm like, it's whoever's going to survive at this point because Pat's limping around. He don't care. Yeah. He's still gunslinging on one foot. You got Kelsey out here doing laterals.
Yeah, I saw the old hook and ladder, or hook and ladder, or hit lateral. And we used to see that as kids, man. Like
Pat would get rid of the ball before he hit the ground. He did it again. There was a couple magician throws where he was getting it out in the flat to a running back in the flat, and he's like falling down. One time they did call it a sack. He didn't get it away, but I don't understand. He's so good.
Yeah.
On one leg. One leg.
Yeah, Pat is
So,
amazing. Well, as Nick Wright says, you got
that's his boy.
You got Patrick Mahomes as the best quarterback in NFL,
Yeah, he said
right?
the second best quarterback is Patrick Mahomes on one leg.
Yeah, he said Joe Burrow is number 2, right? And then the second best quarterback, the third best quarterback is Pat on one leg.
Shut up, Nick.
Yeah. So,
but then you know,
shout out Nick Wright.
I think Cincinnati's going to win this game. Like, it was back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And it was like, can Pat wheel this team down the field with no receivers, or is Joe going to be able to do it? And I'm just like, or maybe overtime. Because then they literally started talking about the overtime rules and the new overtime rules, right?
Oh, gosh.
And so my wife looked at me, what's the new overtime rules, babe? I'm like, well, they kind of changed, but I didn't even get to explain it because Pat was running, and I'm like, he's running and he's scrambling to the right, and he got the first down, and this was like with a minute left. They needed 12 yards to be in field goal range. It's third down. He scrambles to the right. He's about to get out of bounds, and the D tackle, who they were just highlighting, Osai. They were just highlighting D tackle this whole game,
Joe Osai,
who was like this. He was being super disruptive the whole game and that whole fourth quarter. And for some reason, he felt the need to push Pat, and he was already out of bounds. And not to mention, he blew his knee out in the process of pushing him.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I'm like, well, I don't even need to explain the rules to you now, babe, because they're in field goal range. So they're just going to kick a field goal at that point. It's over on that play. Like, that is it.
So they listen to it on the radio. I got to talk about this play because this is what I didn't see this.
I can tell you all about it. You want to talk about it?
Yeah. So what was it? 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8, and they had already stopped it for adjusted the time of the clock, right? Already. And then so 3rd and 8, Pat throws it over to, who was it, Kelsey? And he was short of the first down and brought up 4th down. And then I hear stoppage in the game, whatever. And then Iron Eagle, which, do you know his name is Iron Eagle, right? But if you look at his Ian, but I don't know if you know that as Ian. Have you ever thought about that? Iron Eagle? I've never heard a pronunciation of Ian, right? Ian, right? But his name is pronounced how you actually like spell it or phonetically. Like, it's weird. But anyway, they're giving him a mulligan.
Yes.
It's like, they said that play didn't exist. Now, I could understand, like, they're on the road or something of that nature, right? Like, where they couldn't hear the whistle or whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? But it's like live, in effect, you just had a mulligan happen where they had to redo 3rd down. So, and then they did 3rd down, and he got sacked, but then they called defensive holding.
So here's exactly what was said. So, and I'm reading verbatim. It says the Chiefs got a second chance on 3rd down in the early 4th quarter when referee Robert said the game clock and play clock would begin on his whistle. Only problem was the play came after the completion, so the game clock should not have started. The Bengals stopped the Chiefs, but Robert ruled the play didn't count because of the clock goof, and they wound up getting a first down on Eli Apple's defensive. And they also said, I was watching the test, they were like, well, also there was a referee out of position, and so they were trying to call the play dead anyway. And so I'm like,
but they were trying to fix the clock beforehand, before they even. So they were trying to fix it, and it was like the play begins on my whistle, or whatever the case may be, or the play clock begins on my whistle, and that was 3rd down the first time, and then they snapped the ball, and then there's a completion, but he shorted. Full play, short of the first down, and then you say
they gave him 3rd down again. They reset the clock.
Come on, man!
It was.
Come on, man! Right, and then Pat gets sacked, and then they say it's defensive holding.
That's what
like
hurt.
so.
It was like,
I mean, at least
they sacked them, and they were out of field goal range, and so they were going to punt.
Right.
Like, oh no, do the play.
It's like, at least make the fix not obvious, man. Like, I
don't even do the play over from where he got sacked. No, let's go back to 2 plays ago. to 2 plays ago.
What are
when
we
it was
talking about
38
here?
or something.
What are we talking about
It's
here?
like, not only did they give him a down,
Oh my gosh!
they gave him a down. They made it closer, and they're like, you know what? Yeah, you can have it.
You know, I talked about it. What's that? Instant early reactions, or from what, or storylines going into championship weekend, and we had one of them was the rematch from, what was it? Here, hang on 1 second. I kind of had to pull up the tweet from our Modest Men. If you guys haven't followed us on Twitter, you should. But please follow us. It was ridiculous, man. Yes. So I said the NFL's Final Four and way early Super Bowl 57 storylines. Niners Bengals will be a rematch of Super Bowl 16 and Super Bowl 23, right? And then you had Niners versus Chiefs will be a Super Bowl rematch of 54. And then the Eagles Chiefs will be the Andy Reid Bowl and also the Kelsey Bowl. And then you got Cincy versus Philly would have been a chili and versus the cheesesteaks. And so I could tell you about what chili tastes better. And I would say that is Gold Star, even though Skyline is more prominent. And they got Skyline even in Florida.
It's terrible. I'm not a Skyline guy.
You don't put chili on spaghetti, but I do like Coney's. So I will say that I like the Coney's with a ton of cheese and some onions. It's nice. It's like
Skyline.
Yeah, Gold Star. They do something different with their chili up here. Here is they put cocoa powder in there. It gives a nice little flavor to it. I had right next to each other, side by side. We did the test. We had the Gold Star and the Skyline right next to each other. We also had it the spaghetti 4 ways as well too, which is another thing. Cincinnati is indeed in Ohio, but there's 3 bridges that connects it to Kentucky. They have a lot of Kentucky traits. There's a lot of people that live in Kentucky, and all the Costco's and all the alcohol you can get is in Kentucky. So you just go over the bridge and go do that. Because if you go to the Costco in Cincinnati, they only sell beer. You have to go to state stores, so they have a Kroger or a state store. Anyway, that's that. But yeah, I have a lot of love for Cincinnati folks in the city, and I really thought that this might have been a great opportunity to win a Super Bowl. But here we are. Ryan, my kids are singing Bang Bang Niner Gang. And, Ryan is like, I'm born in Cincinnati. And so she likes the Bengals as well, too. And she got claim to that because she was born there. But she also,
Would you like to hear?
It was very disappointing.
Nick Wright's tweet about Patrick Mahomes.
Oh,
he said the running game gave him 34 yards on 17 carries. The top 3 receivers were out with injury. He was on one leg. He threw for 326, 2 touchdowns, and a 105 rating, and ran for the winning first down. He's Patrick Effer Mahomes, and we've never seen like him.
Wait. That I'll be a penalty that he got the first down on. Right, for the game winning field goal, because that was also 3rd down. So come on, Nick Wright. I know you are the narrative driver. I know you.
That's why we love the comments. I'm scrolling down, and in the comments, I see early Black History GIF is the Super Bowl. First time 2 black quarterbacks in the Super Bowl.
Yes, it is. Ain't that something? But you get the Andy Reid Bowl, okay?
You get the Kelsey Brothers Bowl.
The Kelsey Bowl, yeah, I know. You get the Andy. This is the. They don't give a yeah. Excuse me. I got to sense myself out on that one. Okay, I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
So are you gonna be?
Shout out Trav and Jay Kelsey, Cleveland Heights House, the Heights podcast. They are hilarious. I listen to them. Very funny. The narrative will not be around the Kelsey brothers. That is the secondary storyline, or maybe the third. Okay, the storyline is you got Andy Reid facing his former team that he said he couldn't win a Super Bowl with, right? and he took to the Super Bowl, could never win it. Now he's in his third Super Bowl with the team, his current team, and he's already won a Super Bowl with.
Twice since he left.
Yeah, right, exactly. And so you got Andy Reid, who, in my prediction, the story is already written that Kansas City will win this game, and Andy Reid will retire after this game.
So that's
and ride off into the sunset.
Take, but it's most likely true.
Right, most likely true. I firmly believe that. You know. Obviously, Jay has a Super Bowl ring with back in 2017, correct? So this is, and Trav has one, and so yeah, so it's not like, you know, Jason beating Trav will be, you know, for Jason to get his first Super Bowl ring. That's not the case, but anyway, yeah, I think that's what's gonna happen, you know, and it goes to this storybook writing, right, of All-Pro receiver Tyreek Hill leaves, you know, the team bonds together with the 7th-round draft pick at the running back, and a bunch of misfits, right, you know, pieced together, you know, behind the great minds of Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, right, and they gut it out and they win a Super Bowl. That's the storyline, and, you know, they reclaim Arrowhead from it being Burrowhead, and, you know, all of that stuff. And I gotta say this, man. I remember. Let's see. I think Aftab Purvo was. I think he was either the county commissioner or something, but he became the mayor of Cincinnati. A couple of days ago, he went and said that, you know, he needs for Joe Burrow to take a paternity test, because to see if he's the father of Patrick Mahomes, right? Like, that was a thing that he said earlier this week, and that was really aggressive. And I was like, damn, you just need to talk about that if you actually win the game, all right? But, you know, hey, they had all the confidence in the world because they took down the preseason and America's choice for the Super Bowl, you know, winners, as in, you know, the Buffalo Bills, and, you know, whatever, right? So anyway, it's been a rough week for officials all over the world, because I don't know if you know, but that Lakers-Boston game, and the Lakers in particular have been getting the
all
shaft.
I saw when I opened my phone was your boy Pat Bev with a photographer's camera,
bro,
walking up to the referee to show him. What was he trying to show him? I don't even know the context. That
Brian got fouled. That it was a foul that was as clear as day, and he went and showed him the picture that Brian got fouled. Okay, so I would just like to say, it was, man. It was. I was like, they should even.
The award for best props in the use of getting a technical.
Best technical ever. Okay, and Pat played his ass off yesterday. As Cuffs like to say, 5 watchers. And I want to make him the logo for 5 watchers, because Cuffs always say, you know, shout out Cuffs, he's going to take away the key fob to give me back your key fob. Like, you know, like Jamal Adams not being able to get in the building. But that's a one prank one time on Hard Knocks. Yeah, man. Pat had the last 7 points for the Lakers going into overtime, and seemingly should have been the game winner. They were up by 3 with 6 seconds left to go in the game, and Al Horford is in the corner, shoots a 3. The ball hits off the back of the backboard, like the very top of the backboard, and then bounces back. Jaylen Brown gets the rebound, goes up, puts it in, and they call a late whistle foul, which they've been calling late whistle fouls the whole game, and in favor of the Celtics. And then so it's a 3-point play. And so now it's, I think, 4 seconds left. Now at this point, I think it was 12 seconds left when Boston had the ball. 4 seconds left. Lakers had called the timeout. They get the ball. Bron is at the bottom underneath the basket, swings back around, gets the ball at the top on the left-hand side, drives in, splits the D, drives in. Jason Tatum smacks the shit out of him on his forearm like this. Bron goes in with the left hand on the backboard. Tatum comes down with his right hand or whatever, or left hand, pulls his arm down, ball gets wedged in between the backboard and the rim. No foul. Brian is clearly upset. Everyone's upset because it was an effing foul. Just saying. I understand hand, right? Hand gets hit, right? We had Troy Brown from a few weeks ago gets fouled, right? That they. All we just saying is to be consistent on the calls, right? Just be consistent. I mean, we've seen Donovan Mitchell get fouled. We've been seeing it all around the league, man. The officiating has been terrible, and you see certain players get that call, right? You see certain players get a chance to take 10 to 12 free throws a game. And we've been seeing that, right? Your James Hardens of the world, right? Now you get your Lucas and your Embiids and your Giannis's, averaging, 12 free throws per game, right? I'm just saying, like, it's very strange to see, man. Very strange. I don't know how you want to call it. It's nasty. So anyway, that was that. And then you get into, goes in overtime and they lose the game. So that was that. And so
is the course correction is always so, if you're doing left and right, like the course correction is so far right that it throws everything off. So like when they always try to fix something. So like, what was the thing they just fixed? You can't do the clear path foul, right? And like they're trying to, get that out the game so that they can have more fast breaks, so they can have more excitement. And it's like every time they try to, they're going to try to correct all these referee issues, and it's going to be so extreme that it's going to throw off how they play again, right? So it's going to, because they're going to try to change how these guys defend, or how, because James used to draw, the 3-point. The way he would go up, or the way he would flail to get to call on the shot, so like they corrected that. Right. But it's never consistent. It's always up and down with something, and whether it's carry.
D Wade, they stopped that, right? Because D Wade used to, like they'd get somebody jumping in the air, he would jump into him, right? Like. And so, like, that was a foul. They used to call that. They don't call that anymore, right?
Way some guys would carry the ball as they dribble naturally, as they're trying to drive or start their drive, or going around a pick. And if they cross, they don't call carry at all. And guys are just walking with the ball.
Yeah, I know.
Because, you don't want to stop these guys from doing something spectacular before they step back 3 feet to shoot. And that's still a travel.
Yeah. Man, I'm telling you, it was the craziest thing, dude. The fact that the NBA actually made an apology. And they said, like everyone else, referees make mistakes. They tweeted this. They tweeted this officially last night. This was last night, or maybe it was today. Today's the 20th. It's 29th. So, they said it was an apology last night, and they had an official statement today. It says, like everyone else, referees make mistakes. We made one at the end of last night's game, and that is gut-wrenching for us. This play will weigh heavily and cause sleepless nights as we strive to be the best referees we can be.
Just like my favorite
Yes,
TikToks.
they did. I will also like to say, I will also like to say this is something that happened where the Lakers had challenged a call, and it was a successful challenge. And then Boston did the same thing. They don't get to keep a challenge, right? Like, how they do in the NFL, right? You have 2 challenges, you got 3 timeouts, 2 challenges. If you get both challenges correct, you get an additional challenge. They don't have that in the NBA in their fashion. Yesterday, seeing that play should have been an opportunity for the Lakers to challenge the ball, the call of the non-call of the foul. And right. So that was that, man. It was tough to watch. It was nasty. I want to throw this out there. So LeBron leads the league in made field goals with 11.6, right? Shooting over 50%, almost 51%. You want to know how many free throws he averages per game amongst the league leaders?
I don't know how many.
So he averages 6.2 free throws a game. LeBron also has the most field goals at the rim, and he averages 6.2 free throws per game. He shoots 77% from the line this season, which is crazy because he never shoots a free throw, right? Like that. And compared to Joel Embiid averages 33 points a game. Bron averages 30.2 points a game. Joel Embiid averages almost 12 free throws per game. 10 made free throws per game, right? You got Luka averaging 11 free throw attempts per game. Giannis averages 13.4 free throws per game. Jason Tatum, 8.8. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 10.2. LeBron is 6th in the league in scoring and only averages 6.2 free throw attempts per game. Damian Lillard right behind him. Guess who's next with that? And number 9 free throw attempts per game. Well, number 9 in scoring, but only have very minimum free throw attempts per game. Donovan Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell averages 5.8 free throws attempts per game. You think these guys don't get fouled? You've seen it how many times this season were calls that it was a blatant foul against Donovan Mitchell. Yep. Didn't get the call. You see it with LeBron all the time, man. I'm just saying. It's very strange to me. Very strange. How do these guys get these calls, right? When he's playing at the rim. If you're playing at the rim, you think he doesn't get hit? Like, I'm just saying. Anyway, maybe it'll change once he breaks Kareem record, right? Like, I don't know. It just seems
probably won't though. It probably
maybe
won't. It probably won't.
It probably won't. Yeah.
How'd that feel? Feel good?
Yeah. That's nice.
I had to remember how to.
Fun.
I had to remember.
Good to get back into it. Yeah. That was fun. So we're gonna be doing these little quick hitters of live reactions. Next week we got the skills competition, the Pro Bowl.
Flag football.
We gotta talk about free agency. We got most likely LeBron to break Kareem's record right then and there next week because he's 117 points away.
We can discuss who will be your starting 5 out of the All-Star starters. We can do that.
Oh yeah. Okay. All right. We're gonna do a live draft, right? Live pick 'em. Yeah. Let's see. You got Tim Hasselbeck and SVP talking about the game. I cannot believe Joe's side, man. Wow. I cannot believe. At some point,
you gotta know.
Can't do it. I think the way that the officiating was going, or just whatever, just knowing
they were going to catch a break. You
got to tell your teams.
You gave it to them.
Zach Taylor, you got to tell your team, right? You got to tell your team, like, bro, don't do anything stupid. You already know. Can't put a finger on them. Can't breathe on them. If somebody's running out of bounds, just step away, man. Live for another day. And you obviously couldn't live for another day because
the second man, like there was a man in front of him. Like there was a guy before Osai. And you don't want to like pull up and a guy can continue up the sideline. But if you're a D tackle and you're full speed sprint like that, like bro.
Right. Yeah. That's tough, man. Tough day for the Niners and Bengals. But hey, props to the Chiefs who are making their 3rd Super Bowl appearance in 5 seasons. And shout out to the Philadelphia Eagles who are returning back to the chip. Yeah. And here's a word and to the wise and a lesson learned for all. Please talk your after the game is won. Okay? Because these players here, they see all, they know all. If it's bulletin board material,
don't give them anything.
Don't do it.
Don't give them anything. Just
don't do it.
Like, yeah,
man. Just tough to see it. It's a cautionary tale. You see it all the time, man, and it happened today because you never know what'll happen. Joey Bosa was at the game as well too. I don't know if you saw on Twitter. He was getting roasted by a player, and he got hot with the guy. It's like, how did those fines feel, Joey? How did those fines feel? He's like, guess what? I can afford to pay him.
Facts.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, he looked good in a Niners jacket. I will say that. He had one of Nick's jackets on. He looked good in that red and gold. So anyway, all right, brother.
Short and sweet.
We'll catch up with y'all later on. We are back in 2023 with a whole bunch of new content. Got a whole bunch of new stuff going on. So yeah, that's all we got. You got any shout outs? I don't either. Not right now.
Shout out Ben Gay, Flexall 454. Shout out all the things that kept me upright and going this weekend. But I'm definitely feeling it right now.
Yeah, you went. Got to talk about your skiing adventures. We'll definitely have to do that.
Was
next episode.
Yes, sir, Bob. No, I don't have any shout outs. I mean, shout out to my family. Shout out to my children who are very healthy and getting along. Shout out to the dogs who finally stopped barking. You know, shout out to my wife who's upstairs watching Harry and Meghan without me.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was interesting. I want to get the book, read Harry's book, but I kind of want to hear it if he puts it on Audible because I got to hear it in his accent because, like, you know,
you need the authenticity, right?
Right. Yeah. Yes, I do. Yeah, but we watched that and it was wild. Black Panther comes out on the 1st, even though they Disney had pushed it back. We got Ant-Man and the Wasp coming out. Well, not Ant-Man and the Wasp.
That they would push it.
Quantumanium, excuse me.
You didn't need to do that.
Of course. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I was looking forward to watching it on the 20th. I was looking forward to it. I was like, I was ready. I had my tissues ready. I was ready to get my good cry in. Yeah. You know, shout out to Angela Bassett for her Oscar nomination for Queen Ramunda. Right?
She's a national treasure. That's all. I'm gonna leave it at that.
She is.
National treasure.
Yep. They ain't got to say nothing else about it. Man, Top Gun got nominated for Best Picture. I saw it. It was a great movie. It was great. It was great for my childhood. No, Best Picture, bro. Best Picture.
That's like Bad Boys for Life getting Best Picture.
Man, Best Picture. Ain't no way. But Black Panther, the first one in 2018, cracked it, right? Like it cracked the mold for, like these kind of like fan favorite movies getting in there and being nominated for Best Pictures and things of that nature. But yeah, I couldn't believe it. It was wild. Oh, shout out to the cast for whooping on.
Oh, that's because none of the starters played. They sat everybody like the Warriors, right. Except we didn't lose this time.
Okay, but we didn't lose that game, right? Right. Shout out to my fam. Shout out to my new employee. Return to work install. More to come on that. I was talking to you all about that. I don't want nobody hitting me up out here about some old BS. No, the word is no. No, no, no. No, no, no. No. No, no, no. That's all I gotta say. Don't call me. Don't text me.
But the checks do cash.
Yes, they do. I do not have the hookup. I just want that to be known. I do not. There you go. Adios, amigo. Peace.